This one is SCP-3339. And if you're not already familiar with the concept of SCP entries, I will very briefly explain it now. So, put simply, there is a website called the SCP Foundation, which is a sort of fictional Wikipedia cataloging a bunch of strange, weird, creepy, anomalous, and sometimes funny objects or things that people have come up with. So each article is a fictional entry by a different person, and all of them are meant to be in this catalog made by one foundation devoted to the cause. So, anyway, without any further ado, I do hope that you'll enjoy this one. Here we go. Item number SCP-3339. Object class online, formerly ectoentropic. Containment class neutralized. Special containment procedures. SCP-3339 is to be blocked by all backbone internet service providers. Level 2/3339 clearance is required to access SCP-3339. Should unauthorized civilian access to SCP-3339 occur, Mobile Task Force Gamma 5 Red Herrings is to be deployed to the site of access to administer Class A amnestics to all witnesses of SCP-3339-1 or SCP-3339-2. SCP-3339-2 is to be entered once every Saturday at 1900 hours UTC by a trained researcher. The researcher is to record the performance as well as the number of civilians within SCP-3339-2. See addendum for more details. Containment update. Following the change in SCP-3339's anomalous properties after Incident 3339-A, no further personnel are to be deployed into SCP-3339-2. Primary containment procedures are to remain in place. Description. SCP-3339 is a website accessible through the domain Randall-redacted.net. When loaded onto an internet browser, SCP-3339 will display the following contents with an elaborately designed purple and green background. Randall the Clown's Wacky Broadway Theater, brought to you by the Happiness Factory. Hey kids, have you ever wanted to go to the movies, but your parents wouldn't let you? Don't worry, Randall the Clown's got your back. Every Saturday at 7 p.m., come on down to Randall's Wacky Broadway Theater and see some sights that'll make you want to throw your eyes out, since nothing else will be worth seeing. This is accompanied by a button labeled Come On Down. If the Come On Down button is pressed on a Saturday between 1845 and 1910 hours UTC, SCP-3339-1 will manifest in the subject's computer. However, if the button is pressed outside of this time frame, no further anomalous effects occur. SCP-3339-1 is a ticket labeled Randall the Clown's Theater, good for one showing. The ticket will be dispensed from an opening on the computer used to activate SCP-3339 with no apparent source. The ticket's anomalous properties will manifest if a subject holds the ticket and exits the room that they are currently inside, or enters an interior space if they are outside. In this case, the subject is transported to SCP-3339-2. Affected subjects also report that all exits appear to be entrances to SCP-3339-2. The ticket's anomalous properties will cease after 1910 hours UTC. SCP-3339-2 is a theater theorized to exist in an extra-dimensional location similar to SCP-1763. The theater consists of an array of seats facing a large stage. It is constructed entirely out of wood and decorated in a fashion similar to modern theaters. Once a subject enters the theater, a pamphlet will materialize in the subject's hand describing the performance they are about to see. After 1910 hours UTC, the lights inside of SCP-3339-2 will dim, and a deep voice will announce the title of the performance. A cast and crew made up of humanoids, designated SCP-3339-3, will show a performance of varying genre and quality. See Addendum. Some performances have utilized anomalous phenomena. An invisible, impenetrable barrier in front of the audience section of the theater prevents interaction with SCP-3339-3. SCP-3339 was the designation originally given to the phenomenon causing the temporary disappearance of children between the ages of 5 and 14. It was not until 2014 that SCP-3339 was identified following an interview with an affected child. Researcher note: the description section of this file describes SCP-3339 and all related anomalies prior to Incident 3339-A. Many aspects of SCP-3339 have changed since. See Addendum 2 for further information regarding Incident 3339-A. Addendum Testing Log. Researcher Dr. Redacted. Performance title: Space Wars. Performance description: a conflict stated to have happened on a starship. Two characters, General Nicholas and King Henry, are discussing trading disputes. This dispute ends in a firefight between the two parties, with General Nicholas as the victor. General Nicholas then boards his personal starship and flies away. Time elapsed 16 minutes. Civilian description: at least 100 children of varying ethnicities between the ages of 5 and 12. Notes: this performance was realistic. Actual laser weapons were used. And details such as blood, the starry background, and the spaceship General Nicholas flew at the end were almost indistinguishable from reality. Researcher, Dr. Redacted. Performance title: Pillow Boy. Performance description: a 10-year-old boy named Katurian is exposed to radiation from the sun and becomes Pillow Boy, made up entirely of pillows. Pillow Boy travels back in time and gives candy to children who are depressed, making them happy. Eventually, Pillow Boy becomes sad, and a future version of Pillow Boy gives Pillow Boy candy. Time elapsed 15 minutes. Civilian description: at least 100 children of varying ethnicities between the ages of 5 and 12. Notes: lightning effects from Pillow Boy's time traveling were indistinguishable from reality. Researcher, Dr. Redacted. Performance title: John and Juliet. Performance description: the performance is stated to have taken place in medieval times. For the first 10 minutes of the play, a boy named John confesses his love to a girl named Juliet. After John's confession, Juliet says yes and hugs John before the performance ends. Time elapsed 11 minutes. Civilian description: at least 75 children of varying ethnicities between the ages of 5 and 12. Notes: the castle was designed to appear to be a medieval siege castle, though many other details were concealed from the audience. Researcher Calvin. Performance title: Frank's Day Off. Performance description: a 7-year-old boy named Frank skips school. Frank spends the day playing with his various toys and engaging in hijinks. The performance ends with his mother catching him and him getting grounded. Time elapsed 18 minutes. Civilian description: at least 100 children of varying ethnicities between the ages of 5 and 12. Notes: this performance was on par with modern theater standards, but was noticeably less realistic than previous performances. Researcher, Dr. Redacted. Performance title: Futurinator. Performance description: a cyborg from the future comes in order to kidnap Frank, a 12-year-old boy in San Diego. Another cyborg, the Futurinator, also comes from the future to thwart the other cyborg's plans. Time elapsed 20 minutes. Civilian description: at least 50 children of varying ethnicities between the ages of 5 and 12. Notes: this performance was of noticeably lower quality than the other performances. Both cyborgs were simply standard humans with face paint, and Frank was obviously an adult. Most notably, the car chase scene consists of Frank and the Futurinator inside of a car, clouds to create the illusion of movement. Researcher, Junior Researcher, redacted. Performance title, Finding Fish. Performance description. A fish named Bob loses his son, named Fish, to a strong current. Bob spends the entirety of the performance searching for fish, eventually finding him under a rock. Time elapsed, 15 minutes. Civilian description. At least 20 children of varying ethnicities between the ages of 9 and 12. Notes. All props were made up of painted cardboard, and all characters were humans wearing suits that resembled fish. Researcher redacted. Performance title, The Flimsons. Performance description. This performance focuses on the Flimsons, a family living in Springfield, New York. The primary conflict of this performance is the father of the family attempting to change the channel. Time elapsed, 10 minutes. Civilian description. 9 children, each aged 10 years old. Notes. Aside from the noticeable drop in prop quality, the general writing quality of this performance declined as well. In addition to this, sound equipment within the theater failed on multiple occasions. Researcher Calvin. Performance title, An Office. Performance description. A man wearing a business suit types at a computer in a cubicle for the duration of the performance. Time elapsed, 15 minutes. Civilian description, none. Researcher Calvin was the only member of the audience. Notes. The only props used in this performance were the cubicle, the computer, and the chair the man sat in. No audio equipment whatsoever was used. Researcher Calvin. Performance title, not applicable. Performance description, not applicable. Time elapsed, 3 minutes. Civilian description, none. Notes. See Addendum 2. Addendum 2. Incident 3339-A. Interviewed. Person of interest 3339-A. Interviewer. Researcher Calvin. Forward. On a redacted date in 2015, no performance within SCP-3339-2 took place. Instead, an obese man wearing clown makeup, designated Person of Interest 3339-A, came onto stage and addressed Researcher Calvin directly. The dialogue of this exchange is recorded below. Begin log. Excuse me? Dude in the lab coat? Are you referring to me? Yeah. You mind if I ask you a few questions? Not at all. Thanks. Person of interest 3339-A sits down in a chair on the stage. Can you tell me where it all went wrong? I'm sorry, what? This place used to attract kids by the hundreds. Every time I performed, I could count on an entire entire crowd cheering on my handiwork here, appreciating the show. Now, well, you're the only one here. At first, I just thought the kids these days were out of touch, you know? Then I realized that it might be I that's out of touch. I decided to have a look at some of my old performances. I have them all recorded, you know? Space Wars, Leg of the Tiger, all that. I'm just amazed by them. The special effects, the narrative, just the whole deal. Can't believe I wrote them. Now, I can't even write a half-decent line of dialogue to save my life. What happened to me? Person of interest 3339-A remains silent for 33 seconds. I guess I've gotten old. Spent too much time with the executives. All work and no play, even when you gotta play to work. Corrupted me from the inside out. Made me lose my spark. Person of interest 3339-A remains silent for 12 seconds. Well, guess I gotta go. Don't got nothing left to do here. End log. Closing statement. Person of interest 3339-A walked off stage after his speech. Person of interest 3339-A has not been located since the incident. Addendum 3. Post-incident report. Following incident 3339-A, many changes have been noted in the anomalous behavior of SCP-3339 and all subdesignations. The most notable change is that when activating SCP-3339, a message box will appear containing the following error. Fatal error. No further showings of Randall the Clown's Wacky Broadway theater have been scheduled. Thank you for coming to my show. Waddle on. Programmers belonging to the SCP Foundation have noted that it is still possible to activate scripts located in SCP-3339's web server in order to create an instance of SCP-3339-1, which can be used to access SCP-3339-2. However, SCP-3339-2 is now an empty room, with the audience section and stage removed. Update. SCP-3339 is no longer accessible, as attempting to access it through its URL now yields a 503 service unavailable error. Object